You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from ParrotTalk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me. Well, hey, Murph.
Hey there, AP. How's it going?
Well, it's great, except that you're not in the room with me, and I'm not used to that anymore.
I know. It's been a few weeks that we have recorded separately, but yet we called each other. We've already talked for like 45 minutes, and then we decided to push record.
That's right. So, look, and I'll probably see you soon, so let's not worry about it. Anyway, we can keep in touch virtually because we have been doing a lot of Zwifting.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we've explained it before, but really quick, Zwift is like a game on the computer where you are an avatar on a bicycle and you get to bike on your trainer in your house, but yet also in this virtual world with anybody who wants to join you.
Yeah, and we had several people from the Just Go Bike Nation join us to ride last Sunday.
Yep.
It was super fun.
It was super fun. And somebody even commented, I can't recall who it was. Maybe it was the guy, or it doesn't matter. But they were like, wait a minute, Murph and AP match even in the virtual world?
That's right. Yes, we do. It's like we planned it. It's nice of Murph to match me because she has about 10,000 different outfits to wear in Zwift, and I have about 5. So she levels down to wear the same outfit as me. But we're working on that. Every ride we get more prizes, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we've got the same bike, the same jersey, the same socks, same shoes.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of fun. It's something cool to do while we can't be together. We can't be biking together. You could just about be biking outside. I won't say we can't do that right now, but
yeah.
And I'm sure you have been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I biked yesterday and it was beautiful. It started out really cold, but then by the time the sun came up and the wind died down, it was a beautiful day to be outside. But okay, so how can listeners be part of the Just Go Bike Club?
Well, it's pretty easy. First of all, you do have to have Zwift. It's something that an app that you have to pay for, unfortunately. Yep. So you do have to do that.
But if you're already a member of Zwift,
if you're already a member of Zwift, then you can find the link on our Facebook page, or you can search for us, Just Go Bike Podcast. We're on there as a club.
Yep. And it's really easy once you join the club, which of course is included in your membership. There's a tab that says events, and so just keep your eye on as events come to play. I think I'm looking at the calendar, and we're hoping to Zwift together on the 25th of March.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this episode as it goes live, March 25th, be on the lookout.
Yeah, we'll be Zwifting on a Tuesday. So, yeah, add it to your calendar if you're a Zwifter. Obviously, we're not sponsored by Zwift.
No.
This is just a fun way to connect while we can't be riding together. So, really enjoying that.
Okay, so here we are, as I mentioned, at the end of March, which is crazy because I feel like January lasted about 6 months, and then I snapped my fingers, and now it's spring. This is crazy.
I mean, it's bananas. There are flowers in my yard.
Whoa.
I'm still in winter time. I still believe it's winter.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the next 6 inches of snow to fall. But yet there are flowers in my yard.
Which it probably still will snow a little bit. But so anyway, I think it's once a month. You at RAGBRAI have been putting on what are called town halls. And that's actually our episode today, which is a ParrotTalk, which we probably should have said that at the beginning. But here we are. Will you maybe explain what town hall is all about?
Well, first of all, let me say, this is AP, and that's right, this is a ParrotTalk.
Yeah.
There. Okay, so now it's officially a ParrotTalk. Okay, secondly, a town hall is something that the RAGBRAI team has been doing, like you said, every month between now and this July. We'll be doing our last one in July. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's a monthly meeting, virtual meeting, where you can phone in or video call in and listen to all the latest updates about RAGBRAI, and then ask questions that you might have about either newbie style questions about the ride and how to do the logistics, or maybe a more advanced question about like what's the details of the route or different planning things that have been going on. Really, whatever you want. So it's kind of cool in that way. We do it online through the chat app called Teams. So it's the Teams app, if you're familiar with that. So you can just call in. It's completely free. And the next one will be April 3rd at 6:30 Central Time.
Ooh, and I know there's something else happening that's pretty cool on April 3rd, which we'll talk about in a second.
Okay.
But I believe for this Parrot Talk, you wanted to pull together some of the questions that were asked?
That's right. So every town hall, we get a lot of questions, and it's awesome, but we don't have time to answer all of them.
Sure.
Because it's only an hour long. And I don't know if you know about the RAGBRAI team, but we like to talk. And so we take about, more long time than we may be expected to do the presentation. And then we try to get to as many questions as we can, but there's always some left over. So this is sort of trying to address some of the questions that didn't get answered during the town hall. And we'll be doing this just occasionally between now and the ride, just to try to just help newbies and help people who might have questions about RAGBRAI get them answered in a different way.
Yeah, and I like the questions that you selected because they're interesting questions, and I think they're questions that are on a lot of people's mind. So should we get started?
Well, I hope so. Yeah, let's get started. And I will say again, so for the April 3rd one, if you have more questions that you want to ask, go ahead and register for the town hall. You can find that link on the RAGBRAI Facebook page. But in order to ask questions, you do need to register. It's totally free, but it's just kind of a fluke of the program. That's how you have to do it. So, or if you want to ask a question outside of the town hall, you can always email info@ragbrai.com. So I just want to say that right off the bat.
Perfect. Okay, so I alluded to this earlier, but this goes along with the very first question that somebody had asked. I said April 3rd is your next town hall.
That's right.
When, AP, will the full route be released?
Great question. It will be released on April 3rd. So the same day as that town hall that's coming up. So as you may have guessed, the topic of the town hall is the full route. So Matt Phippen, the ride director, will go through the route and talk about some of the ins and outs about the route. And I will tell you, there's a couple surprises in store. So you may want to tune in just so he can tell you all about it. It's going to be pretty exciting.
And how does the full route get released? Is it via website, Facebook, social media, where?
All the above, and also email. So you could find it on our website, the ragbrai.com website, or on the Facebook page, or if you're part of our newsletter, you'll get a newsletter with the info. So the way that I roll it out on social is that I will post on the 3rd, I'll post the whole thing. So you can kind of see the top level view of the entire route. And when I say the full route is being released, that means we're going to talk about the meeting towns, the pass-through towns, the route that the exact roads that you'll be riding on the bicycle. Bear with us because, again, we're human, and sometimes there are tiny little mistakes on the map, so we'll be fine-tuning those. But we'll have basically the whole route out as good as we possibly can so that you can see exactly what to expect, where to expect to ride. And a lot of people who have been waiting to purchase day passes will purchase them after this because the route may be going past something that they are interested, like their parents' farm or a certain pass-through town. So So anyway, the full route will be released on April 3rd, and we'll be talking about it in the town hall, and it's super exciting.
Cool. And a side note there, because as we've been interviewing Matt throughout the years, he always mentions this, but full route will be released, like you said, on April 3rd, but the actual in-stone route isn't official, in my opinion, so tell me if I'm wrong, AP, until after we do the RAGBRAI pre-route inspection ride, which happens in June.
That's absolutely correct. That's sort of the point of the pre-ride, is to make sure that the route is good and bikeable and safe for the riders, or if it's not safe, that it can be made safe either by repairs or by the assistance of the troopers or other law enforcement officials. And also making sure that the traffic patterns either can be, we can work with them, the different trucking companies or whatever farming companies there might be along or farms themselves that might be along the route. Try to work with them to make sure that they aren't as inconvenienced by us and that they're not driving in a way that would be unsafe to cyclists. Right. So, so in short, yes, the full route with the GPX files will be released the first week of June.
Awesome. Okay. So then, GPX files, for people that don't know, is like the electronic version, right? So that would be something you would put on your bike computer in case you don't see the thousands of signs that are posted along the route and want to feel confident you know the route.
That's right. I didn't used to want to have the GPX files or the digital files, but I don't know. I've had a smart computer for a couple of years now, and it's really fun.
I love it.
It'll tell you things like how many hills you have left to go and how many miles you've gone and how your cadence and your pace and just little data points that are kind of fun to have. But it's not necessary, but it will tell you exactly where to turn and exactly where to ride and how much you've got to go.
And exactly how steep the upcoming hills are. So if you don't want to know that, don't get the GPX files.
I can think of a couple hills from our route scouting trip that I don't necessarily want to know. But
okay,
look, it is what it is.
Okay, let's transition to registration. What do you have there?
Well, so registration is open. I will say, now this podcast is coming out in March. There is a price increase on April 1st. Ooh, okay. So if you know that you want to ride and you don't necessarily care what the full route is in that you're going to ride anyway, I would register now so that you save yourself a little cash.
Sure.
If you want to wait, it's not a huge price increase. I don't know. I think it's like $25. You can wait till after April 1st. Registration will be open through June or until some point in June that I can't quite remember. I think it might be June 11th.
Okay.
But so anyway, you'll have to see. You can check ragbrai.com/registration for all that information, the correct version of that information. But I know the price increase is April 1st. So you can register for a whole week. You can register for different days along the route if you want that, or if you don't have enough vacation time to do the whole week. You can do it that way. But I will say the price increase applies to all the different categories of registration: full week, day pass, and non-rider pass would be something like if you were a driver for your team.
Got it. And then just by chance, let's say I am at my grandma's house and don't realize that RAGBRAI is coming through. Mm-hmm. Can I get a one-day pass if I'm at my grandma's at the end of July and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to ride?
Well, sure. Now, I don't think your grandma's going to have the pass, but unless she's really cool. But you can get your day pass, and the best way to do that is to head over to the RAGBRAI merchandise and information trailers, which will be downtown in every single overnight town. They'll also be at the RAGBRAI Expo, and you could also purchase a day pass at the campgrounds of every overnight town, which are
perfect.
Usually we have them labeled. We haven't announced where the campgrounds are going to be yet. We just worked on starting to get that nailed down last week. So they're not quite set, but but the campground is the other place.
Okay. Let's see. Next category is logistics.
Okay. So logistics. Let me ask a question. I'll say, what if I want to ride this ride? I want to be a free bird and I want to ride this ride solo. Do I need a support crew, or can I do it that way?
Oh, this is a true newbie question.
Yeah.
Well, I can answer this one just because I have done RAGBRAI almost, 30 times?
Yeah.
And I've done this ride solo. I've done it with a team. And I guess I have done it where I have my own support crew. But absolutely not. You do not need your own support crew, because part of your registration fee goes to these huge semi-trailers that will haul your luggage every day.
Yeah.
So as long as you can fit all your stuff in your bag, it's under 50 pounds, it gets thrown into this two huge semis, and it gets to travel ahead of you, so that when you get to the next overnight town, you go find this trailer, you grab your luggage, you put up your tent, and you go have fun.
That's right. And all these semis are sponsored by Heartland Express, which is a trunking company, I think out of North Liberty, Iowa. And the cool thing is, if you drive past their HQ in July anytime, they usually have the RAGBRAI trucks parked outside and you can see them.
Yes.
They're like really bright red and really bright blue, so they're really easy to see, and they have pictures of RAGBRAI on the side. It's pretty neat. So shout out to Heartland Express.
It's on Interstate 380. So if you're in Iowa going north and south, that's where it is. So, but can you have your own support crew?
Well,
AP?
Well, sure you can. If you'd like, make sure that they have a non-rider pass, like I talked about before, so that they can drive their vehicle. You'll also need a vehicle pass for whatever vehicle they decide to support you with. And then they can enter the main campground, and you can park wherever I'll say wherever you like, but usually we have a designated area for people with, say, like a generator, or people who are camping in tents with no generator. We do have it separated out a little bit, but beyond that, you usually can just sort of go where you please within the main campground. And they could go in there and they could have your tent all set up for you and a couple of cold drinks waiting for you. So it is kind of a nice deal to have a support crew. Do you need them? No. Are they nice to have? Sure, especially if you have someone in your life who wants to be involved with RAGBRAI but isn't really interested in doing the cycling, or who might want to trade off days with you, where sometimes people do, one person will ride one day and the other person will drive, and then the next day they'll switch. It's a nice arrangement that people do sometimes.
And, okay, so one other scenario, let's say you and a couple people have been planning to do RAGBRAI all year, and then these two people, can't get the vacation time or something weird happens. Could you still go by yourself? I would say absolutely. I mean, if you have like even a tiny bit of social skills at all, you will strike up a conversation with pretty much anybody, whether you're sitting at a park, eating a sandwich, or you're pedaling. You will end up with friends by the end of the week.
I will tell you, even if you just sit down and stare into space, people will come up and start talking to you. People are so friendly on RAGBRAI. It's awesome. I mean, let me put it this way. If you trained for a marathon, you trained for months and months and months for a running race, like a marathon, and you were going to run with friends, and then your friends dropped out, would you still drop out of the marathon? No.
Heck no.
No, because you've already put in the hard work. You already have the vacation time. You better might as well just do it. So I think RAGBRAI is the same way. You'll be training for several months, and you'll be planning for several months, and it's totally worth it, and you will not regret it, and you won't be lonely unless you want to be.
Right.
And even then, sometimes not when, not even then. So.
Okay. So another logistics question. Is there a safe place to park? And should I park my car at the start or at the end of the ride?
Oh, okay. This is one of the most common newbie questions that we will get. Because, it's kind of a logistical puzzle where you bike across the state, but you don't, where's your car with it? You have to get to either the start or the end somehow. So
right.
I totally see why you would ask this question. And the answer is it's up to you. Both Orange City and Guttenberg, the starting town and the end town, will have long-term parking available. And what long-term parking is basically a designated parking lot where anyone who pays their fee can leave their car for the duration of RAGBRAI. And there's usually security included in that, and it's usually a lit area. So it's definitely always a safe place to park your car. I'm just not sure where exactly they've designated, so I can't tell you exactly what it's like, but it's always a place where you can pay a small fee and you can park your car. So I would recommend choosing Orange City or Guttenberg based on which side of the country you're coming from, and what you figure out for transportation to and from this car. Because once you park it, you got to figure out how to get back to that car.
Get back, yeah, because RAGBRAI is a one-way.
Yep. So that kind of leads to the next bullet point on our list, which is what are my shuttle options? And we'll list some shuttle options on our website. They're not quite up there right now, but if you can kind of game the system, and if you go into ragbrai.com/charters, the charter page, several of those charters will offer shuttles. And ones off the top of my mind would include Pork Belly Ventures and Bransell charters. And then there's some of our charters are based out of certain cities. For example, the charter that I used to ride with, called Bicyclists of Iowa City, will offer a ride from Iowa City. So just kind of look through the list and see if one of them might apply to you, or if they might you might be interested. But for example, I believe Pork Bellies, they do shuttles both from Guttenberg and from something like Omaha, where there's an airport. So it really, really varies by the company. And so I would encourage you just to look through the list and check out their websites, because they'll have it all listed out for you there. And then maybe in another month, like in April sometime, we will put up our transportation page on ragbrai.com. The reason it's not up yet is because we're still finalizing some details with that long-term parking. I should have also said with the long-term parking, they're not live yet because these towns are still finalizing a couple last details.
Yeah, it's still early.
I know you want to plan your vacation right now. I totally get that, but just give it another couple weeks and it'll all be there for you.
And especially those major charters that you mentioned, when they transport your body and your luggage, they're also transporting your bike.
Yes.
So all of it goes with you. You might not actually see your bike because it'll probably be in a different truck, but all of those details are if you go to ragbrai.com charters.
Yeah, and I also want to mention a really cool new option that we have this year. Matt Phippen has created this partnership with a company called Mr. Car Shipper, and Mr. Car Shipper will do exactly what it sounds like, where you meet them in Orange City and you give them your car and they will put it on one of those like multi-car transport trucks where you see like on the highway and there's like 20 cars on one truck. They'll do that and they'll truck it over across the state to Guttenberg for you.
No way.
Yep. So
that is so cool.
It's super cool. And so it kind of skips the whole shuttle charter thing entirely. So if you want a really easy option, you can use Mr. Car Shipper.
So it's like your vehicle has a little vacation as well and gets to go on a trip.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So if you'd like more information about Mr. Car Shipper, it will be on the transportation page once that's live on ragbrai.com. But again, you can game the system if you want. If you look in our blog at our top 10 tips that I published for March, it has a link to Mr. Car Shipper, and you can get ahead and you can sign up for Mr. Car Shipper now. So it's right there but you have to find the blog post called Top 10 Tips, and we can link that in the show notes.
That's a fun addition to RAGBRAI options for getting your car to where you want it to be.
Yeah, it's just something a little different. It saves you a little bit of time. It won't save you cash, but it's a cool service and it's a very convenient service. So in my opinion, it would be worth it if that's something you're interested in.
Right. Okay, I see one more question in logistics, and this one is probably going to be top of mind for a lot of people because all of us are addicted to our electronic devices. But how do I charge electronics during the week?
Okay, I'll answer this one how I would, and then maybe you answer it how you would do it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so for me, when I went with the charter that I rode with, we would camp a lot of times in elementary schools. So I would go in and I would pay my $10 for a shower to support their local booster club. And then after I was done getting cleaned up, I would go and read a book in the air conditioning and plug my phone in while that was happening. And just get a little juice for the day. And a lot of times with more modern cell phones, you only need an hour or two of juice because you're not really on your phone all day on RAGBRAI like you are some other times. So that's my favorite way to do it.
Okay. Well, I have two different ways. And this, I'll just brag for a second because most people don't have this option, but I have a hub generator on my bike. So it has automatic, the lights are integrated into the bike. So as I pedal, the lights are on. But then I also have a USB port. So I can charge, and I don't necessarily charge my phone while I'm pedaling, but I charge like a battery bank. Yeah. That then when I get to my camp or whatever, that battery bank can just go in my tent, and then I can, charge my bike computer and all of that. Plus, of course, my phone, my fan, all the stuff that you need when you're in your tent at night.
It's so genius. I will say, I think I have charged my phone on your bike before while you were riding.
I think you have too, yeah. But of course, if you don't have that option, any business you go into, if you're having lunch or if you're at your, the church dinner after you get done riding, if you see an outlet, I would be 99% sure if you ask, whoever is there is going to say, oh my gosh, please charge your devices.
Oh yeah.
And then one tip for you, if you're riding your bike across the state and, a lot of places in rural Iowa, you'll not have any service. Mm-hmm. But if you still want to be able to take photos with your phone, put it in airplane mode.
Oh, yeah.
Which means you won't be able to receive text while you're pedaling, but how many people actually can read a text while you're pedaling? Please don't. But when you get to whatever town, just take it out of airplane mode. And then if there's service available, you'll get caught up on anything you've missed.
Yeah, that's a really great tip. And I also want to highlight what you were saying about the battery packs. I think they're a really great option. Mm-hmm. You could even have 2 battery packs, still be under, fit those within your 50-pound weight limit on your baggage, and use one and then charge the other. That'd probably get you through the week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think one of them I have is less than $50. And if you just use it sparingly, you can get through the whole week without having to recharge it.
Yeah, I think that's a really genius option. And the airplane mode, good tip.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, which is kind of piggybacking off of the last one in that it's lodging.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
I love this first question just because it's a newbie question and you just don't know. I mean, there's 15,000 people who are all going to sleep at night, or most of them. And so the question is, do we reserve camp spots each night, or is it first come, first serve?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, it's first come, first serve within the main campground if you're using the RAGBRAI baggage service. And usually if you're using a charter as well, the charters will have a designated area. Mm-hmm. The charters will have reserved spots in general, but then within those spots, you can camp wherever you like usually. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it is sort of a free-for-all. I will say plan your campsites wisely because if you are next to that porta potty, it will be convenient to go to the bathroom at night, but the doors are loud. The doors are loud, and they do sometimes have an odor to them.
Oh, yeah.
So just beware. And then the other thing I would say is pay attention to the landscape, because if you put your tent on top of, say, like underneath a walnut tree, there'll be a lot of walnuts on the ground and it will be a lumpy sleep. Mm-hmm. Or if you camp on a slope, you better be prepared to put your head at the top of the slope and your feet pointing down, or you're going to have the blood rush to your head all night. And if it rains, it's going to be, sometimes water will pop up in areas that you wouldn't expect when the land is dry.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Kind of just look around and see, try not to camp in a drainage ditch or, in a lower area so that the water would flood in there.
Yes.
I'd also say, this is my plug to new campers. Do just a little bit of research on camping and make sure that you have a ground cover as well as tent stakes, because it does get windy sometimes and it does rain sometimes because it is summertime. So those are really necessary items and they weigh almost nothing. So
right. And for sure, here's my tip. If you, let's say you put your tent all up and you're ready to go take a shower, which, I'm going to give you 2 tips. Okay.
Okay.
First tip, put your tent up before you take a shower, because if you're like, I need to shower right away, then I'll put my tent up. No way, because you're going to be a sweaty mess again. So put your tent up, and then if you're going to walk into town to grab something to eat or go watch the band, even if it is a beautiful day, put your rain flap on your tent and zip it all the way up, because if you get one of our Iowa crazy storms that pop up, you do not want to go back to a tent full of water.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
I will also say one year, which this was way back in the day when I used to ride with a team on a bus, and the driver was new. So he knows how to drive a bus, but he would always think, I'm going to find the best spot for my team to camp. And he found this open field. It was beautiful. He parked the bus. We all got in, I think at dusk, put our tents up, went to the party, didn't even think about, anything else. Get back only to realize that he parked like 30 feet from a train track. Oh. And so all night long, like every hour, you felt like that train was coming through your tent. I mean, we found out quickly why nobody else camped in that beautiful space.
Yeah. And that goes towards one of your tips that I've heard you give a couple times, is that bring earplugs on RAGBRAI.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe even an eye mask, because, there's a lot of things about camping that you don't necessarily think about on your day-to-day life when you get to the luxury of living inside in a house. For example, sometimes you lay your tent down on what looks like a big grassy field and the grass is hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
And sometimes you can't really avoid that. It's sort of, you get what you get, but you just have to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings, which is tough because you're tired from biking and it's maybe you don't even care that much and you're probably sweaty, but just give a minute's thought to where you're putting down your tent.
Okay, so then our last question goes right along with that. So let's say I have the luxury of an RV and a driver and air conditioning. I mean, this all sounds great, right?
Yeah.
My own personal shower, a place to sleep that has cushioning. But the question that somebody asked was, will I be able to plug in my RV each night?
Well, I will say I've never done RAGBRAI in an RV. I know you have, but I'll still answer the question, which is that in general, no, you will not be able to plug in your RV unless you bring your own generator.
Right. Yeah. These are like, the places where RVs will be camping is like a temporary place, I mean, if we're in Iowa Falls, there may be an actual campground, but it probably is not going to be real close to town. Yeah. So they're just going to find some, nice open flat ground for the RVs. And then you're on your own to figure out how you're going to keep that air conditioner going.
Yeah. And the only exception this year might be for a city because they're home to Winnebago, the RV company. And I believe they have a pretty large RV parking area. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be utilizing that for us, but there could be exceptions, but it's not the rule that you'll have.
Yep. So, I mean, if you're bringing your RV or you're planning to rent an RV, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind right now. That you have to figure out if it's 90 degrees all night long, which it might be, either have some really powerful fans or bring a generator or plan to, park out of town and then get a ride in or something like that.
I think RVs are bringing people's generators are a pretty popular option. So
good. Right. Well, these are good questions. I love them. I mean, I know I was once a newbie with RAGBRAI, and this is a pretty big event. So I love that we're sharing these. And I'm sure there's people listening who maybe have done RAGBRAI a million times that may just have good memories listening to this. That's how I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Do you remember your first RAGBRAI?
Yes, I do. We were in a bus that we had just gotten painted. So it was still a bus, a school bus. It hadn't been really, converted to an RV type bus. So no bathroom in it. Obviously no air conditioning. We didn't know what we were doing. And it was so hot every night.
Yeah.
So hot. Yeah. Do you remember your first RAGBRAI?
But yet you came back every year.
I know. Yeah. Yep. How about you?
Yeah, of course I remember. It wasn't even that long ago. I mean, I'm only a little bit older than 12, right? So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my grandpa took us and he dropped us off, and Bicyclists of Iowa City took us up to the Northwest Iowa, and we just joined what seemed like a horde of cyclists. I've never seen so many people together in my whole life at that point. And off we went. One thing I remember the most is that there was a tornado siren the first day before we even started cycling. And I'm like, what is this?
Oh, no.
What is this going to be like? But because we were doing homestays, we were able to go down to a basement and have shelter. So it was comforting for a 12-year-old.
I wish I would have known 12-year-old AP.
Yeah, well, I was pretty shy and pretty quiet, but I opened up pretty quickly after that because it was fun.
Apparently you have, yeah.
Yep. Well, I remember there was a guy named Steve who would ride, and he would have balloon animals all over his bicycle, and that was pretty cool to a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, to me now as well, but yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me and joining me for another Parrot Talk. That was fun. I say we do it again for a future town hall.
I say we do as well. And I appreciate joining you for Parrot Talk.
Yeah. So listeners, thanks for joining us for yet again another Parrot Talk. If you have questions that you'd like to ask us outside of the town hall, you can always get a hold of me or Merv at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com or on any of our social platforms at justgobike on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
just go bike!
Theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.